Let's catch up with Susie O'Brien from the Herald Sun in Melbourne and Stephen Senatiempo, breakfast host at Radio 2CC in Canberra. I'm glad you're both sitting down because I'm about to tell you that I think I agree with the Australian Greens on something. Now, we all know the heartache in this country about supermarket prices and the market dominance of Coles and Woolies. Susie, the Greens are putting up a bill that would give the ACCC, the Competition and Consumer Commission, added power that if they thought there was price gouging going on and the supermarkets weren't playing ball and didn't reform, didn't clean up their act, the ultimate sanction, as happens in the US and other countries, they could force them to actually sell off some of their supermarkets, divest themselves of some interests. They don't have that power at the moment. They can fine them and do all sorts of things. Do you reckon the Greens are onto something here to give some muscle to the ACCC?
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, and it's something that the Nationals have certainly been pushing since 2022, and it has worked well overseas. And this is something that Alan Fells came up with in his review just a few months ago. It makes so much sense. I mean, we've got these duopoly with 65% of the market share, making $1 billion between them, off the back of poor old us having no choice but to use these two supermarkets in so many areas. So this is a really, really good idea. I mean, this is what happened with the media. You know, they've had the ability to break up media duopolies or monopolies for many years. So it would be really good to see this applied to something like the supermarkets, which we have no choice but to use all the time.
Yeah, where there is real market power. I'm going to make it easy for you, Stephen, to agree with the Greens on this because, as Susie says, the Nats have been onto this for a long while, and here's Matt Canavan today.
Clearly, the current penalties are not working to rein in the behaviour of the big supermarkets, and I think it's about time we have the same type of penalties in our competition laws that exist in the US, the UK, Europe, Canada, all over the world.
Yeah, Stephen, it makes sense.
Yeah, can we make sure we destroy any copies of this recording? Because, yeah, I agree with the Greens on this one too. Look,
well,
I think it's...
Let's be polite and say the Nats were onto this first, right? But it's the Greens who are putting up a bill now. Yeah.
I agree with the original Greens, and that's right. Look, this is a no-brainer. The reality is that we need more competition in the marketplace. But having said that, as consumers, we've got to use the opportunities we have to bust the duopoly and go and shop at some of the independent grocers and go back to our local fruit shop and our local baker and our local butcher and all of those kind of things. But I just think it makes infinite sense to try and break up the power of the two major supermarkets. I mean, if you look at every other advanced economy around the world, they have far more competition than we do in probably the most vital retail industry, retail group or retail sector.
Yeah, look, it's easy for me. I shop at Coles because they stock Farmers Union iced coffee, so that makes it easy for me. Anyway, let's go to power prices. Chris Bowen thinks he's onto a winner. Here he is again today.
Oh, we're not giving up on the plan for cheaper electricity for Australians. Others might, by introducing the most expensive form of energy available in the world, nuclear. We're not giving up on the task at hand, which is getting more renewables into the system to reduce prices and emissions.
He's got a nerve, Susie, saying he's not giving up. They've gone up nearly 50% on his watch.
Yeah, so today we learnt that the default market offer, the DMO, is going to be cut by 10%, which people are saying is going to make a material difference to power prices. But, the DMO went up by 25% in recent years, so there's still a long way to go. And, we also need to make sure that Labor, as the government, stays on the market regulators to make sure that any improvements, any cuts like this are felt by every person, across the country and not just those on the default market setting, that all of us who are using retailers to get our energy also get the benefit from this cut.
Yeah, you've got to make sure you get the best deal. But, Stephen, I showed at the top of the program how if you take away the $275 that Labor promised, we're now paying, on average, households are paying $1,000 a year more than what Labor promised. No wonder if you're on a fixed income or on a pension or whatever, that's a huge whack of money that you should not be paying if you listen to Labor.
Well, that's exactly right. And the one thing that Chris Bowen fails to say is that what he has given up on is doing the one thing that will bring our electricity prices down, and that is put more supply into the grid by expanding the opportunities for genuine, reliable, cheap baseload power. I mean, he is out there demonising nuclear at every opportunity and keeps talking about putting more renewables into the grid when that is the problem. The renewables in the grid are the very problem and the reason that our prices are going through the roof, and this bloke just does not get it. This is what happens when you put a bloke who's never had a real job in charge of a serious ministry like energy.
It's so true. I'd love to see you two debate. Get him into the studio sometime. We'll televise it. I've got to talk about Kate Middleton again, Princess Kate. Because we'll show the pictures here. She's been spotted in Windsor just going out for a shop. She's looking happy, looking very thin, could do with a good ham sandwich, but looking healthy and happy, walking around. I'm amazed, Susie, that the future king and the queen can just walk around and shop like this. No doubt there's security nearby. But will this put to rest all the speculation about her health and their relationship?
Look, I think it does. This goes a long way. I think all people wanted was to see her and make sure she was okay. And, you know, we hadn't seen her. There was all this stuff about the doctored photos in the car. So this actually will, I think, put a lot to rest. It also shows that she's not bowing to public pressure. She hasn't released that undoctored photo, the one from Mother's Day, and she's determined to go back into the spotlight on her own terms. So clearly someone must have been tipped off that she would be there, and so that we know that she's okay and she's going to return to the public at the spotlight in a few weeks' time on her own terms. So good for her, I guess.
You've changed the tune since last week, Susie.
I know, but she's okay. So
you wanted to see her, yeah. Fair enough. People want to see she's okay, but she's a woman who's had abdominal surgery. She's a mother of young children. Leave her alone, right, Stephen?
Here. You know what? You know what I've learned through this whole fiasco is that Republicans care more about the monarchy than monarchists do, because you guys are out there complaining that she won't show herself in public.
No.
When we're just saying, look, you know what? Let her recover.
I'd rather not talk about it at all, but I do think she deserves a bit of respect. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch up with you guys next week.